Hey guys, I am here today with part 3 of my March project share. In this video I'm going to show you the projects I made with items that I received in the SCT Sampler over the last, year. I mean, it's not everything, obviously, but this is stuff that I know for sure I got in the SCT Sampler. Again, just to kind of show like what you can make with that stuff. I know I haven't really done a lot of project shares with the samplers I've been getting, so I figured this would be a good way to sort of highlight that, is just give those products their own video. Again, it's mostly cards, but there's a couple other things as well, so let's get started. So starting with cards that I made with the most recent, the March 2019 SCT Sampler. I made these cards with the paper and ephemera and whatnot from the, again, I believe it was called the Hooray by Crate Paper collection. I believe that's who it was by. My apologies if I'm wrong. I really love the paper on this. It was really cute. And I found it, oddly enough, worked really well on a gray card base. I had a couple of blank card bases made from gray cardstock that I made in January and February that I ended up not using. So they were sitting in the use this next pile. And I was like, wait, these are oddly, even though they're very pink, they oddly go really nice on the gray. So I used them up that way. So in this one, I don't remember what the papers were called, but I used this paper that had, like, celebrating animals on it. I let it mostly work for itself because it was so busy, like it's already got a sentiment right on the paper. And then again, in my last video, I showed you that I cut up the actual birthday card that had come in the kit, and I did that. I used the presents from that card here as well. I just cut them out, put them on foam tape, and then used some of the sequins that came in the confetti in the collection, just to give it a little bit of sparkle. And then this one, again, it was a paper that came in the kit from this collection, and this was a cut apart that was in my kit. So I just put it kind of crooked to kind of go with the whimsical feel of the card, and then I just used some of those really awesome metallic adhesive pearls. They're a Dollarama right now. There's two more of the pink and gray cards here. I used, again, just paper that was in the kit. This is actually like a tag. This pink thing was kind of like a tag. It's a little short for the base, but it worked out. Just to stick it in the middle to sort of break up this pattern, this confetti pattern. And then I just, again, used more of those silver pearls on both cards. This is a foam sticker that came in my kit. And then over here, it just seemed perfectly, like it made perfect sense to use these foam stickers that came in my kit that said cake and day to make a happy cake day card on cake paper. So I just got these pink stickers, which I believe I also got in an SCT Sampler kit, to spell out happy, and I tried to like follow the whimsical pattern of the whole thing. And I left the little bits inside the holes in the A and the P's, because if you see here, the holes in the day aren't open, so I figured that would kind of work. I don't know if it was a good idea or not, but I tried. And then again, that's another foam sticker, and then more of the pearls, and I really like how these two came out as well. And then here I just did, once again, that strip and circle design that I warned you you'd see a lot of. This is just on a pink card base that I made from Michael's cardstock. Again, this stamp was in the March SCT Sampler kit. It's a Hero Art stamp, and that's what I used on all of this design of card. And then I just used the scrap from the cake paper, and then the scrap from the confetti paper I used with the hole punch to make the circles on the outside. This was a bit of a failed experiment for a number of reasons. This paper came in the March kit. It was, again, a part of that same Greek paper collection. And I really, really like it. It's just that, once again, it's very busy, and it's all sentiments, and it's kind of like, at one point I thought maybe I would fussy cut the sentiments out, but then I realized that probably wouldn't look very good. So, like, some of them would probably cut out nice, but some of them wouldn't. And so what I decided to do was, I had these brads. I didn't realize they were brads at the time. They came in that Let's Celebrate collection that I won in that giveaway. And like, they're so pretty, but I hate brads. I know some people love them, but I just find them very, like, I'm not good at piercing the paper and then getting them into the pierced holes. I did a little better this time around, but not great. I've used brads before by snapping the brad part off, like the flexible thing, the metal part in the back. I've been able to snap them off on some. And then like just shove them, like stuff them full of foam tape and stick them on. But I wanted to see if I could use them the way they're supposed to be used, and it didn't really work out. And then I found, when I tried to adhere the base to the card base, that it was going down lumpy because there's stuff underneath it. So I ended up putting the whole base on foam tape, and again, I don't love how that turned out. It turned out okay on this one, I guess. But I'm not a huge fan of it, and then I just threw some adhesive pearls in to sort of tie in the pearls and throw some more embellishment in. And then we have 2 more strip and circle cards here. This one used the last piece of that red paper, and then I was able to make circles with that red paper from the Forever in Time paper pad that I showed you in the last video. And then this is the reverse of one of the papers from the Crate Paper collection. I don't remember which one. I really liked it too. It just didn't really go with the majority of the paper that I got in my collection and the embellishments that I got, because it's so green and it's got these like colors in it that aren't really in the embellishments that came in my kit. So I wanted to at least use the scrap of it that says yay on it, so I did that. And then these are actually scraps from paper that were not in the SCT Sampler Kit. I had pulled them out as they were sort of coordinating with everything else I was using. Again, that'll be a separate video, but I just had this one scrap, and again, I really liked this cloud paper, and I thought it was a very similar green to this, so that's what I used for the circles. This paper with the circles on it was, again, the reverse of one of the pink papers that I used. I liked the other side as well, but I ended up having more of this yellow cardstock sitting around that I used on some of my cards from the last video. And then I had also pulled out a bunch of journaling cards to use them up. And I had this one yellow journaling card, and I was originally just going to put the journaling card on the yellow cardstock, but again, this was too pale and would just like blend in. So I figured if I put this dark paper, the dark yellow, underneath and kind of have these different shades of yellow involved, it would work better. So this obviously isn't a birthday card, it's just kind of like an encouragement card. So we're starting to move into previous SCT samplers. Now I have no idea what's from what at this point. I only know what's from the most recent one. Which some of these stickers are. These 2 clear stickers and this foam sticker are all from the most recent SCT Sampler Kit. I mentioned in my last video that I had a card that used a scrap of this paper. And I think in hindsight this was from SCT. This was just kind of like, I needed to use up what was left of these stickers, and I had trouble with these ones because they didn't really fit in with the other designs I was using. In hindsight, I don't know if they worked that well, especially this one because it's clear. I think if it had been white it would have worked better, but I ended up just doing like a cluster of sentiments. These stickers, all these decorative ones and these 2 sentiments that pop up, they're all Dollar Tree stickers. And again, I just threw in some silver pearls just to sort of add some sparkle to it to go with some of the sparkle on the stickers. Then again, this is a card base that I made with Michael's cardstock. Actually, come to think of it, I think all of these card bases are going to be from Michael's cardstock rather than pre-made card bases. So if I find one that does have a pre-made card base, I'll mention that. So again, these papers were both in SCT Sampler Kits, and then these are ephemera from Project Life kit that I bought. And I think these enamel dots were also from an SCT Sampler Kit. And then these sparkly dots, they came in a little thank you gift I got from SCT after I posted a couple of videos. And I have been looking for a reason to use them, and I ended up using up most, if not all of them, I think, in this month's projects, because they ended up going so well with a bunch of the stuff that I made. So it worked out really well for that. And then I just put some of these little yellow gems, tie in the yellow in the ephemera pieces. And I think they worked out well. They're both kind of like encouragement cards again. Again, the background paper on both of these came in SCT Sampler Kits, and then I used up again a journaling card that I had in a Project Life kit. I think, unless this came from an SCT. I think this was Project Life, but it might have been an SCT. And then this I had in my stash, and I just kind of been sitting on it, and I figured, well, I'll put it on the front. It can be customizable for someone who wants to congratulate someone for something. And then we have 2 more of the strip and circle designs. I mean, obviously you can see I used the heart paper and the circle paper here, and I believe all of these circles I punched out from scraps out of this page. I think that's where it came from. It might be from this. I don't remember now. But I think it worked out really well because they were very similar in, like, shade and tone and whatnot. This background paper with the hello, yay, etc., that was in an SCT Sampler Kit as well, and I really love it, and it ended up really coordinating well with a number of different things that I worked on this month. And I did make it a big card base. Unfortunately, I covered it up with this semi-coordinating Project Life card that I had in my stash. I just thought it gave it its own sentiment, but also broke up some of the pattern in the back. And then I just used a number of gems from my stash to embellish it. Okay, I found a Michael's card base. Oh, like that came from the Hot Buy sets. This one is just a homemade base though. This green paper, like the stripe paper, I think this was actually in my stash, as was this dark green cardstock. But these 2 journaling cards, they came together in an SCT Sampler Kit, and actually this light green card is the back of that birthday card that came in the most recent SCT Sampler Kit that I cut up. It was white in the front, but it had this really like pale green on the back. And I'm like, well, I could use that as a card base, so I kept it and ended up using it to sort of spread the green out on this card. This one I just used some enamel dots from my stash to embellish it, and then here I used a variety of different gems. I put the bigger ones in the corner, and then I just kind of scattered some different green gems along to make it like, you know, magical sparkles, that kind of thing. This card uses paper that I got in the SCT Sampler Kit, both in the background, and this is another journaling card that I got from them. And the two light pink sparkly dots are also from that gift that I received from them. They were Chamel Glitter Girl, I think, dots, and then these are just some enamel dots from my stash. This card, the background paper, again came in an SCT Sampler Kit, and I believe the card is from my stash, and it just happened to like perfectly coordinate with this paper. And then I finished off the adhesive pearls that came in the Let's Celebrate collection from 2 videos ago to just sort of embellish it and give it a little bit of a dimension. And then I made one more striped circle card with the scraps from the previous 2 pink cards that you just saw. Then I had some scrap white cardstock. I had miscut a couple of card bases, so I ended up cutting them into 2.5 by 3.5 size note cards. And then I just ended up stamping with this Dollar Tree stamp on one side. And then like I said before, I loved this paper, and I had one big scrap of it and nothing that would go with it to do like a scrap and circle card. So I ended up cutting it down to put it on these little note cards, and I think they turned out really cute. And then finally, I used some of my scraps to make 3 bookmarks. Again, these 2 were scraps from some of the paper from the most recent SCT Sampler Kits. I believe this polka dot was the reverse of one of the papers, I think. And then these 2, the flowers and the sunshine good vibes paper, were reverse of other papers that I had pulled out. Again, they were just scraps, and they just happened to go really well together using the reverse side to make this bookmark. So I got 3 of those made. And that's it for this video as far as the cards that I made this month and other projects that I made this month using primarily SCT Sampler Kit items. I made a total of 22 cards, 2 note cards, and 3 bookmarks. And again, I'm pretty sure some scraps from these will show up in other cards that I have to show you coming up soon. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Please give it a share. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Also, subscribe to the SCT Sampler if you haven't already. I will leave a link below. And if you want to click that bell in the corner, you will be notified when I next upload a video. And I will see you guys in the next one.